prior to 8,000 years ago, the world was not unpopulated, nor was it silent. The languages spoken in it did not belong to the Pi family, though. And even today, out of the 7,139 documented languages, only 445 belong to the Indo-European family, 313 of them being Indo-Iranian. So, before the Pi family arrived on the scene, other languages were spoken. How do we know? Archaeological and paleontological evidence suggests that even as far back as 20,000 years ago, humans lived in societies that may have begun to practice the earliest forms of agriculture, or proto-agriculture, creating cultivation-like environments for native plants used for food, although not necessarily full-blown crop growing. The signs of culture, cave art, constructed dwellings, tools and jewelry, go even further back, possibly more than 50,000 to 100,000 years back. Around 10,000 BCE, there is even more solid evidence of sustained farming. This type of food production required interaction and therefore language of some sort. The earliest attempts to capture ephemeral speech in a more permanent and stable medium, that is, writing, emerged in ancient Mesopotamia in the form of the Sumer-Akkadian cuneiform. This happened about 5,500 to 6,000 years ago. The cuneiform symbols were made with sticks and clay and had a distinct wedge shapes. The system was logosyllabic. In other words, the symbols stood for both syllables and whole words. Ancient Egyptians developed their own hieroglyphics a few hundred years later, also using ideographic and phonetic elements in their system. Neither of these languages were Indo-European. Akkadian was a Semitic language, Ancient Egyptian Afroasiatic but not Semitic, and Sumerian was a language isolate. We know of no related languages. Today, multiple language families exist in the world. Sino-Tibetan languages are spoken in Asia and specifically in China and Tibet, as the family name suggests. Altaic languages, which include Korean and Japanese, for example, are distributed over Central Asia and the Far East. Uralic languages are spread all over Siberia and well into Europe. Afroasiatic languages are found in parts of the Middle East and Northern Africa. And the Nilo-Saharan languages constitute a significant portion of Central African languages. Dene-Yeniseian languages include many Native American and Native Siberian languages. And Austronesian languages are spoken in Madagascar and on the Pacific and Polynesian islands. The Nilo-Saharan and Austronesian languages families are the largest in the world. Let us now go over what we have accomplished in this three-part lecture. You can now explain what it means for languages to be genetically related, and trace the development of English from its Proto-Indo-European roots. You can name key scholars that founded the field of historical linguistics, and list their accomplishments from the early 17th through late 19th century. You can also name some language families that are not related to Pi. And this completes our lecture with a reconstructed Proto-Indo-European word for the end, termen.